Welcome to Muller Time. What's going on, brother?
It is the go-home week for Politicon. This coming 1 week away, or less than a week away.
It is Politicon week.
I am thrilled.
How excited are you?
Yes.
Politicon is the, for those who don't yet know, even though we mentioned it 1,000 times.
Okay, come on. Yeah, everyone that listens to Muller Time, they know what Politicon is now.
Well, but you always know, as any entertainer knows, you always got to think about the person who's listening to you for the first time. So Politicon is they call it the unconventional political convention. It's the Comic-Con of politics. That's how you would say it, right?
Yeah, and well, it's thrown by people that have a background in concert promotion. So there's there's elements of what you will see at like a South by Southwest music business convention.
It's pretty much the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I've gone for 3 years. We've worked 2 of them, including this one. And when I say worked, we mean we've gone as podcasters.
We've got press passes, and we're going to use them.
That's good. I like that. That should be like a bumper sticker or something. And then the first year, I just went as just a fan before you and I were doing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And every year it's gotten bigger. But this year, this is a whole new thing.
Yeah, they stepped up to the big LA Convention Center in downtown, just a couple blocks away from the Staples Center. Same place they do what's LA? No, Comic-Con's in San Diego, but they do the LA version of comic book conventions and
it's the
LA
biggest
Convention
spot.
Center.
Yeah, that's the biggest place. Last year was the Pasadena Convention Center, which is nice, but this is this year they have Avenatti, Ted Lieu. They have, there's just, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, we got to find a way to get Avenatti on camera on a mic. I would love to be able to talk to Michael Avenatti.
I've been tweeting at him relentlessly to see if he'll write back.
All right, well, you see what his current Twitter beef with Donnie Jr. going on right now. Avenatti is putting his, hey, I'm always right on his claim that I'm always right on the line. He thinks Donnie Jr. is going to be indicted before his next birthday, which is December 31st.
Oh, is it really?
Yes. That was a tweet from today.
That's my prediction, though. Remember, I said this would all be over by Christmas?
You did. You said that last week. I was being a way keg half empty last week. I'm a little more keg half full this week.
Yeah, that's because it's a Sunday and we're feeling better.
And Politicon's less than a week away, so I'm totally excited.
The lineup is crazy. I could go through the whole list right now. I'm not going to, but if you guys go to Politicon.com, which I don't get paid for, I just enjoy talking about it.
No, go to Politicon.com. There's a page that just has everybody's face that is appearing. Then there's another page that has the schedule on what panels and discussions they're all doing, and it's going to be a good time.
Now, we're going to be staying down there, even though we live in L.A., which is feels like kind of an LA thing to do.
Yeah, you found us an Airbnb condo or something like across the street, so we're gonna be creating content all weekend.
Yeah, because I don't want to. LA jokes aside, this is a lot of gear. I don't really want to be lugging this gear back and forth.
No, and
to Hollywood.
Yeah, and the Uber expenses would get out of hand.
Yeah. So we found a good place, as I said, on a block that looks like it was the set for Michael Jackson's Thriller, which is fine.
Yeah.
Just get the gear in there before dark.
Yes.
And don't bring it in a duffel bag, just so no one sees it.
Oh yeah.
No, I love downtown. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at some places down there when I got this place, and it's so expensive.
Oh, it's
like I couldn't afford it.
No. Well, look, yeah, you and I can't afford this neighborhood. Yeah, okay, now we're getting off topic here, but yeah, if we've both been here long enough that we've taken advantage of our rents not raising too much.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, Politicon's coming up, and by the way, like I said, if anyone who listens to the show is going, you can drop us a line at the Muller Time Facebook page or the Twitter or MullerTimePodcast@gmail.
Yeah, look, if you are at Politicon, we're both going to be on Twitter on our iPhones all day long. So yeah, come find us. Hashtag Politicon, hashtag MullerTimePod, whatever. You'll find us. If you're listening to our podcast, we know you know how to use Twitter.
And then one more thing in terms of the plan, which I'm still working out, but I think we're going to do a show Friday, Saturday, Sunday too, I think.
Well, look, I'm not afraid to take advantage of things like Periscope from my phone, right, while we're on the convention floor. If there's something worth live streaming over, we might just do it right off the cuff right then and there. Absolutely.
So there's going to be a lot going on, and we'll
stay by your favorite device all weekend long, October 20th and 21st for your friends Muller Time Podcast at Politicon.
Right. Just sit next to the phone. Your kids will find a way to get their own food, and your boss won't care if you call out sick.
Oh, yeah.
Just sit there.
Yes.
And wait. Just keep hitting refresh on the iPhone speed. It's going to be so great. So after 2 years, Trump has decided he may answer 5 questions written.
Well, it won't be him, though. It will be his lawyers.
It's like a book report.
Yeah.
When you didn't write your own book report as a kid.
Oh, you know, you can't tell me that there isn't 2 different systems of justice in this country where, you know, he doesn't have to actually speak to a human and he can have lawyers handwrite letters.
Let me explain what's going to happen by Christmas once again. Mueller, first of all, everyone's getting indicted. I don't know what's going to happen with Trump because of the unique protection of the presidency, but as my prediction is, again, these motherfuckers are all getting indicted. I don't care who answers what questions. That stuff is a joke. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we don't even know what's happening inside the Mueller investigation, because the only people leaking this story about the questions are obviously Trump's legal team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, any leaks that have come out of the Mueller investigation are because Trump's lawyers wanted it to happen, not because Mueller's people leaked anything.
Right. So whatever, answer the questions, don't answer the questions. He can't even read anyway, so what's the difference? Right? It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know what the questions are.
Mm-mm. No, he would not know how to answer them anyway without perjuring himself. They're perjury traps. It's a perjury trap. It's a trap.
Yeah, I just watched this bum on 60 Minutes. That was funny.
Oh, you know, I started watching it before I came to our multi-million-dollar studio here to record this week's podcast. And yeah, it's Sunday night. Do I want to watch more Trump on my TV on Sunday night?
Well, it's funny you said that about the studio because as I've been trying to become a better podcaster, I decided I should listen to some podcasts. Mm-hmm. So I listened to a bunch. There was only 1 or 2 I ever listened to before we did this show that I enjoy. So I listened to a bunch, and I gotta say, man, they some of them are in, as you joke, but some of them are in some multi-million-dollar studios, and they don't sound really any different.
No,
or even much better. Mm-mm. And I noticed with podcasting, it seems like I don't know if it's because podcasting is a new medium, but it seems like every podcaster has modeled their show after the same 2 shows.
Okay, which 2 are those?
Like NPR's All Things Considered.
Okay.
And maybe like Pod Save America.
Okay, and now NPR's All Things Considered, though, that dates back long before podcasts were ever a thing.
You're right. That's a radio show.
It's an FM radio show.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. It's like I think it's important to take risks when you're creating art and not model yourself after. Like they all start the same. You know, hey, welcome to. It's like.
Well, yeah. Well, then NPR, they got to ask you for money for 5 minutes before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they all start off. I think you got to start off with the show. Just get into it.
Yeah. The other, like when I do it, I don't like. I've mentioned this here before. I listen to very few podcasts. I watch far too much television. I will occasionally go listen to one, but everyone has to get all of their plugs, all of their commercial spots, everything in right at the top of the show, and it's a little annoying.
Speaking of which, if you like Hoover vacuums, no, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I will occasionally listen to the Ben Shapiro podcast. Do you hear his sponsors? He gets crazy Alex Jones kind of sponsors, like buy survival food in airtight packets that are good for 30 years, or buy gold, or buy into this competition to the NRA, this other different gun club.
Right wingers get that. Right wing shows have the absolute best sponsors. Bomb shelters.
Bombs, yes. Benji advertises bomb shelters.
Cash for. Oh, does he really?
Oh, yeah.
Cash for gold. Mm-hmm. It's always like apocalyptic shit, which really is a window into who these people are.
I'll give you this too. Ben Shapiro, when he does his commercials, I mean, he does it old school style, like before TV, when the radio host reads the ad. And every once in a while, Ben Shapiro knows when he has a show that a lot more people on the left, or as he likes to refer to them, leftists, will listen to. If something's going on, Benji then will strategically place his advertisements. And the one for this gun club thing that's not the NRA, the way Benji will read it is just awesome. It's like, I want to make sure every one of you leftists that are listening to this one episode of the Ben Shapiro Report know that I walk around everywhere carrying a gun. It's just genius stuff.
Wow.
I love listening to that.
That's interesting because it's extraordinarily difficult to get a concealed carry permit in LA. So I guess a public figure can get it.
Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit by saying walking around wearing or with a gun, but Benji will definitely tell you he has guns in his home. So you don't want to attack him at home. He's warned people about that. He will kill you if you attack him at his home.
On that note, speaking of which, I seriously was going to get to this. We are actually, seriously, no joke, we are looking for sponsors.
Okay.
So if anyone listens to the show or knows or thinks that this would be a good forum to present your product or something, Again, you can reach out on the Facebook, Twitter, Mueller Time Podcast at Gmail. And we'd, no matter how apocalyptic your product is, I'm sure we'd be glad to talk to you.
Do you want to, should we sell seeds? Grow your own seeds or grow your own food?
I'm a capitalist. As long as it's not something too crazy, I'm sure I'll be interested.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good one. Speaking of good ones, so Trump, so you always knew that he looked like he thinks his followers are like a joke.
Okay.
Like we all know that. But literally I couldn't make this up. This is like, okay, this is like, this would be a metaphor, but it's true. He literally is selling them to other people. Did you see that?
What are you talking about?
They're selling the data of who these people are to anybody. Wow. It was in the New York Times. The names, addresses, phone, anything.
Who actually is selling the data? Is this the Trump campaign?
Trump campaign, yes.
So that would be Mr. Brad Parscale?
Correct.
So he's out there shopping around all of the data they have on every one of the MAGA hat wearing losers.
This has never been done. Now, political campaigns have sold data, but according to the New York Times, an active president has never just straight up sold his people's stuff.
Who are they marketing it to?
This is the best part because it's Trump. It's anybody.
All right.
Literally anybody who will pay money for it.
Is he trying to sell this data back to, say, Putin? I don't know. I mean, who wow. I kind of tuned out of politics this weekend because I'm going to be overloaded for the next 7 days. Wow. Okay.
No, the reason I don't always go over, I don't like send you a list of topics because I'm like Larry King. I prefer an honest reaction.
Good.
That's what Larry King used to do.
Oh yeah.
It's better.
Yeah, I missed that story today. Okay, so what if Michael Avenatti wants to buy this data on all of Trump's supporters? Will they take Michael Avenatti's money?
They'll take anyone's money. No, I really believe that.
Did the New York Times give a price tag?
No, you know what? That would be very interesting.
Okay, so if I go and tweet at Brad Parscale, I could make an offer.
Yeah. Maybe we should do that.
Let's
later.
do it. Let's send an offer from the Mueller Time Pod Twitter account to Brad Parscale.
But I love that. Like a year from now, or let's say it was, I don't know, next month. It's like Jim Smith in like fucking Indiana, who voted for Trump, is going to get a call like, "Hi, is this Jim Smith?" Yeah. Hi. Would you like to buy a 1997 Cadillac DeVille? How did you get my name? Oh, we got it from the, like, it's not even going to be like political shit. It's going to be like any schmo is just going to buy this data.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, it's valuable data. Absolutely. That is a marketable item. I mean, I totally understand why the Trump campaign wants to sell it. That is, data like that is massive money.
You think like if there was a massive criminal counterintelligence investigation into you conspiring with a hostile power that greatly involved the transmission of electronic data, you think you might, lay low for a little while?
Yeah, you would.
Nope.
Okay, now in this data, how much of it is fake Twitter and Facebook bots created by Russia?
That's a great question.
Yeah, so are you actually buying good data?
No, you're going to be marketing your 1997 DeVille to Vlad in fucking a suburb of St. Petersburg.
Even though his Facebook account says he's in Wisconsin.
That's good. Hi, is this Jim Smith? Hello.
I have a Yugo. Do you want to buy it? I have a used 1991 Yugo.
Back to that podcast thing. I found this one show that kind of does what we do, and it's two guys too. But it was amazing. It was the same thing. It was like over compressed and just the way they do the sound. And it was, again, this thing like, hey, like remember Howard Stern used to goof on radio DJs?
Yeah.
Like it was exactly like that. Like, hey guys, back. I was like,
yeah, I know, but the put on radio voice doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah. Podcasting kind of killed radio. So yeah, maybe you should kill the generic radio announcer voice. Yeah. Along with it.
I've always said, if you're going to do something, it's better to fail, go big and fail than try to do somebody else's thing and fail.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm all for going big and failing, or going big. I'm not for the failing part, but going big, sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of taxes, I'm sure you saw that Jared Kushner doesn't.
Oh, what a surprise! He somehow hasn't paid any taxes.
no federal income taxes they said for 10 years. I'm sure it's for his entire life.
Now, and I'm sure it's all legal. He knows every loophole. And now all the people that are in Brad Parscale's little solicited list of data people, they have no problem because that's smart of him. He's a smart businessman because he avoided taxes.
You know, Brad Parscale, the guy is such a punk. Like, you saw the photo of him with the gold watch, and he's just a white supremacist, fucking bearded hipster douche.
He has the Viking Nordic white supremacist look. Absolutely. Short hair, big, long, bushy beard. Yeah, it's just too obvious.
You were a web designer and you hit the mother lode because you got hooked up with the only guy who would hire anybody. And then by this crazy thing, and now you think that you're something special, but you're not. You're just another white supremacist in a suit trying to fit into society.
Yeah. Oh, wait, but what was the point though? Why do we bring him back up?
No, I don't know.
Because of taxes. So yeah, no. What I was trying to say was, so all these people that are in his data, they're all the Trump supporters. Instead of thinking, "Wow, that's really unpatriotic," someone so rich can avoid paying taxes. They're okay with that because that makes Kushner smart.
Well, the Republican Party scam because their base is growing smaller, but their scam has always been convincing poor people that they can be them with if you just work hard enough, you can be Trump.
If you let us keep more of our money, you could be one of us too. And they buy it every 2 years. Every 2 years we have an election.
That's why I don't feel too sorry for his base, because your responsibility as a citizen is to educate yourself. If you actually believe that these people have your best interests at heart, I don't think anyone can really do anything for you.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right about that.
It's like you don't. All you need to do is read a newspaper every day of your life, and you would know these people are scamming you. It was in the paper. So Kushner, the way he gets away with paying no taxes at all, is that all his money. It's actually pretty fascinating. It's all in real estate. So I guess when all your money is in real estate, you can tell the government that your buildings are depreciating as time goes by. Like literally, they're worth less because the shit's falling apart, and it's total bullshit. In fact, like look at this neighborhood. You mentioned how the cost goes up every year. These people are making a killing. Look at all these buildings that are going up.
All right. Well, look, my car is old. It's well over 10 years old. It has depreciated in value. But you know what? It's gone up every year. The taxes I have to pay on renewing the license every year, that goes up every year, even though the value of the car has depreciated over the last decade. So how come that happens with my car, but it doesn't happen with Jared Kushner's buildings? And
if the Democrats want to win and they still don't know what the fuck they're doing, part of my language there, they would literally have a commercial with Jared Kushner's, it was in the paper, a picture of his tax return that says $0 paid. They would put that up there and say, does this make you feel good? If not, vote for the Democrat. That's how you get people's vote.
Yeah, why? That's a painfully obvious election season ad.
Because I looked at that and it really made me mad. And that anger that's how you get people out to vote.
Prince Jared.
Right. It literally has a 0 in the column. 0 taxes paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they run that ad. Shoot, I'll write that ad.
Now, Jared's in the news for something else this week too. Is that on your little list?
What's he in the news for?
Oh, he's buddies with a certain Saudi prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as I'm sure you guys know, a Washington Post columnist, his name is Khashoggi. Is that his last name? Yeah.
Yes.
Has disappeared, been murdered, unfortunately, inside the Turkish embassy, the Saudi embassy in Turkey.
Now, I know Trump was asked about this tonight by Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes. I don't know if you saw that portion yet.
Yeah, it's incredible because they know what happened.
Trump absolutely knows what happened.
Right. They knew. I heard Malcolm Nance say on TV that with this intelligence thing I never heard of, that the president's notified in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. No, I think he said within 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yes.
Right. So, of course, he knows what happened. And he's up there bullshitting to Leslie Stahl.
Yeah.
No.
Now, again, Trump tries to play off every time there's an attack from Trump on the fake news media, and the media is the enemy of the people, he tries to always blow it off by saying, no, it's just the fake news media that it's we're the enemy against. Okay, well, hold on. Now we've got another murdered American. Well, he's a journalist from an American outlet who is a permanent resident in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, is Turkey involved? How is this involved? Turkey wanted him dead. right?
Saudi Arabia wanted him dead. Why they chose to do it in Turkey?
Oh, okay, it happened in Turkey.
As far as I know, there was no beef with Saudi Arabia and Turkey have friction, but as far as I know, Mr. Khashoggi and Turkey had no friction.
What are some of his pieces that he's written that made him a target?
Well, my understanding of this gentleman is one of the reasons they were so ripped is that he's not just a journalist. He was actually part of the elite. He was one of them.
The elite what?
In Saudi Arabia, he was not royalty, but he's part of the upper class.
Okay.
And then he became, I guess, persona non grata he started to call them out. And that, I guess, like enrages them even more. It's not like he's just some regular journalist.
Okay.
He literally was one of them. And then he came here. I haven't really read much of his work.
Oh, that's right. So he was lured to Turkey, and that's where he was killed.
But they said his last column enraged them. But again, I'd have to go back and read it. It was just something that pissed him off. I think he called them out for maybe one of these deals that Trump and him are doing.
Okay, so what was kind of scary about the Trump interview tonight when Leslie Stahl asked him about it and he danced around the answer is the fact that he danced around the answer. And he was given the assumption, well, maybe he's not dead. We don't know that for sure. So let's wait to see let's wait till all the news comes out eventually. In what he likes to give a vague term for amount of time in the future. So just the fact that a journalist from an American outlet was killed on foreign soil, and Trump is nonchalant about, maybe both sides are innocent.
And he's a permanent resident. He's lived. Yeah. That's one step from an American citizen. Like that's Trump was acting like it's just some guy. Like, no, he lives here.
Okay, so if the Saudis are going to do that to an American citizen and see that they can get away with it, well, what happens with the next journalist that works for an American outlet that pisses off China?
Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at the same time, Trump gets this pastor released from was it Turkey, right? This guy, Pastor Brunson.
It was
on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like he basically this guy has been in jail there for 2 years, and I'm glad he's back. So this guy comes back, and they got him released by the way, Trump traded a Hamas terrorist for this guy, but tried to pretend like he's just the deal maker.
Wow, of course Trump doesn't want this story. Okay, wow.
Yeah, so anyway.
So he gave up a terrorist. That's like if Obama ever released a terrorist in exchange for something that would call for impeachment. So
this pastor gets back, and I'm not too sure what his story is, but like I said, anytime an American citizen comes home, I'm glad. So I'm not criticizing that, although I am criticizing trading a terrorist because that's I want to know exactly what went down there.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, did you see that? So Trump is in the Oval Office, and do you see him praying with the guy?
No, I totally missed this whole. Did this happen today, Sunday?
It was it was Saturday, I think. Okay. I don't know. Time moves differently now.
It sure does. Yes.
Yeah, they did the full-on like Elmer Gantry prayer thing, like Trump's head bowed, the whole thing. I mean.
Okay, did Trump actually say any words of prayer, or was he just there to let everybody else do it? Because, he won't get it right if he did. That would be awesome.
No, the pastor did all the talking. Anyway, the point I was trying to make there is that this guy, the radical right, anytime they can bring home anything involving someone who's Christian, it's priority number one. And this journalist is just as a hero, and it's like whatever, right?
But would he have gotten this treatment if he wasn't a Christian?
Absolutely not.
I mean, what if he was an atheist?
Oh, no, he'd fucking still be in jail there.
What if he was Jewish?
Same thing, yeah. Of course.
But Christians get special treatment from America.
Under this administration.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. There's whatever. So that was interesting. So Mr. Khashoggi, we know what happened to him. Yeah. He went into the embassy. He hasn't been seen since. So unless he decided that he's going to leave his fiance, which is why he was there to get some wedding papers. No, he's dead.
Yeah, there's video of him going in. There's no video of him coming out.
Right.
And I remember hearing that they could see when the last time he read a text message was, and there's been text messages since that never were opened.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he's no longer with us.
Yeah. Paid the ultimate price. Got a lot of respect for that. I do. I got a lot of respect for dissidents, and obviously.
He got killed over freedom of speech.
I was thinking about that because, we do this show, and I call Trump fat, and you say your thing and whatever, and we can do that because this is America still. for a while.
For now, we can. Let's hope things go right on first Tuesday in November.
In other countries, people do that. I mean, they do this, and we would, if we were in, Egypt or something, turn the mics off, they'd be at the door.
Yeah, no, if we were in Saudi Arabia, we would also be sent to Turkey. Well, maybe not sent to Turkey, but I used that euphemistically. Yeah, we couldn't do this.
Yeah, no. It's too bad because I follow this Instagram account of it's just pictures of Saudi Arabia just by a photographer. Mm-hmm. It looks really beautiful. Like I wish I could go there and see it. There's a lot of places I wish I could go.
Yeah, but religious extremists run the country.
Yeah.
Religious extremists, doesn't matter what the religion is. If you let religious extremists control everything, you no longer are free people.
The only thing I want to say more about Saudi Arabia is they still haven't been held accountable for what happened on September 11th.
I know. Every one of those hijackers was from Saudi Arabia. None of them were from Afghanistan. None of them were from Iraq. But who did we go to war against?
It was, to be specific, it was like 15 out of 18 or something, I think.
Yeah, they were either from Saudi Arabia or Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Exactly. And if you read about that, there's many, this is not Alex Jones stuff. This is real.
No, there's plenty of great Alex Jones stuff about 9/11, and I used to be a big fan of all of that.
There's a lot of unanswered questions about what happened with the Saudis, and as you said, nearly every one of them was Saudi. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm not going to go on and on about this, but those guys were in this country for a long time. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Half of them were morons, if you read the 9/11 report. But somebody was giving them money, someone showing them how to get around. Yeah. And there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Now, one of the things I heard about the assassination of the Washington Post reporter, one of the things that Trump might let Saudi Arabia off the hook is because they spent enough money with American defense contractors.
Yeah, he was just bullshitting because I don't think anyone's confirmed that what he was saying there. The truth is he wants to let him off the hook because they're spending money on him. Mm-hmm. And he himself opened, I believe, 8 companies after he won the election in Saudi Arabia.
How many people from Saudi Arabia own units in Trump Tower?
Yeah.
Or other Trump properties around the country?
No, they own a whole floor. Wasn't that you who told me that?
Maybe.
In Trump World Tower, they own the entire fucking 25th floor.
Okay, I didn't tell you that, but sure, okay.
Yeah.
Trump World Tower is different than Trump Tower where Trump lives. Trump World Tower is a different building, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Is that the one in Chicago? Or is that just a different building in New York?
I think it's a different building in New York. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But I am shopping for real estate, so I'll go take a look.
Oh, as Rachel Maddow pointed out, we, the American people, actually own a unit in Trump Tower.
Really?
Well, yeah, he used to be owned by Paul Manafort, but all of his assets were seized. So the American people now own Paul Manafort's former unit in Trump Tower.
Oh, great. I'm going to go start packing, get my U-Haul.
Maybe when they do Politicon New York, that's where we can stay.
So the White House, Don McGahn will be exiting after, I'm sure,
he did the job he needed to do. Ugh.
Going off to the sunset. There's going to be a new White House counsel, one Pat Cipollone.
Yeah, Don McGahn, he did everything to make sure his buddy Bart O'Kavanaugh didn't have to answer any tough questions.
Yeah, Bart O'Kavanaugh, the rapist whose name is Bart, but forgot about it because he didn't do anything wrong.
No, seriously, McGahn is the one who was actually in charge of what could be in the scope. I didn't even know that was like a thing, the scope of an investigation, and that you could say, no, even though that's where you're going to find all the evidence to prove guilt, you're not allowed to look there. That's a thing that's legal.
So this Cipollone guy is like, it sounds like he's even worse than McGahn. He's a total...
Yeah, I know nothing about this guy. Who is he?
Exactly. There's not much, but this is what I understand.
Where is he from? Did he used to be a handbag designer for Ivanka?
He's, as they said, a very qualified and well-known Washington lawyer. Mm-hmm. It's basically another white guy with his hair parted in the middle. But here's what they said.
That's a scary haircut. What's his face? Oh, no, it's not.
Or on the side. Yeah. My bad. So this is what they were saying, though. So this Cipollone guy has already helped them, like, consultant on the side. So now he's going to take the White House counsel job, which is a job that you're not supposed to be working for the president. You represent the institution.
Correct. So, the White House counsel is the lawyer that's employed by the taxpayers of the United States that represents the White House, but Trump treats it like his own personal lawyer.
So you've been acting basically as that type of personal lawyer, but now you're going to But of course, conflict of interest don't matter to these people.
And look, as I mentioned just before about what Don McGahn did. Don McGahn, instead of being the White House lawyer, he was Trump's lawyer and said, you don't have to look at this when you're investigating Bardo Kavanaugh.
Right.
So, yeah, who's he really the lawyer for? So they could tell us he's the White House counsel, but if he only works on behalf of Donald J. Trump, what's the difference?
By the way, Don McGahn, like many older white men in a midlife crisis, plays in a rock band.
Does he really?
If you guys go on YouTube.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. And Jay Sekulow, too. Remember I told you?
Oh, man.
Yeah. So if you guys are...
I'm look these up. What, do they do covers?
If you guys have 35 seconds free during your week, make sure... Yeah, I think they do covers. Check out the Don McGahn band.
Oh, I hope he doesn't do anything that makes me sad. I can't imagine... Oh, wow. Was he doing, like, bad Eagles songs or something?
Well, I told you, Jay Sekulow's band was actually pretty good. I got to say, like, I'm always honest. I'm always honest if something's good. It was good.
All right. Well, I have a little more discriminating taste when it comes to rock and roll. I might have to take a look at that. And,
I mean, they're not original songs, but he got the best musicians he could, I'm sure, pay for.
Well, he can afford it, but yeah.
Yeah. All those little boiler rooms he runs with young guys raising money for him.
Oh, for crazy Christians.
Yeah, basically. So someone set the Internet Research Agency on fire with a Molotov cocktail.
Oh, I saw that.
You see that?
I read the story first, then I saw the video, and I was a little disappointed that the fire didn't spread more. That was a terrible... I'm glad the fire didn't spread more, but when I read... I had seen the story for about an hour before the video surfaced on Twitter, and yeah, there's a great security camera video of the Molotov cocktail going through the window, but then it really only kind of burns a little portion of a desk.
Well, I wouldn't be upset that it didn't burn down. I would hope it would burn down.
Okay, I was trying to be nice and like not. Yeah, it's.
Well, you don't want to.
You know what? I was just watching the last episode of the Ben Shapiro election special where he rails on about the angry leftist.
You can only, by the way, you can only mention him one more time on this show. That's already twice.
And so
there's a red light I'm going to install. It's the Ben Shapiro light.
He lives rent free in my head. I can't help it. But no, he was going off about the angry mobs and how the left incites violence. So I'm saying I'm glad the Internet Research Agency didn't burn down. Maybe
that whole thing was. Well, since you brought that up, so for whatever. So since you brought that up, we now know the strategy of the Republicans till whatever, and it's the same strategy they've been doing pretty much as long as I've been following politics. If you don't vote for me, Democrats are going to kill you.
Yeah. And if you don't let me pay less, if you don't pay more taxes and let me pay no taxes, everything's going to be more terrible than it is today.
After all this stuff, the stock market is soaring. Unemployment is going down. But all this stuff because of Obama.
Do the people that actually vote for the Republicans own stocks?
But all this stuff, everything's getting better. And they still are so fucking pathetic that they can't even run on that. Because they know not only because it's not because of Trump, so they have to run on this other stuff. Democrats are going to kill you.
We've seen a lot in the last week since the Kavanaugh hearings went the wrong way, that the left is not allowed to protest the way they protest. When the left protests, they're angry mobs, and they're not doing it right.
Right. Armed Nazis can march through the streets and kill a woman, but if you protest Bart O'Kavanaugh, the rapist, and you get a little excited or upset, you're dangerous.
You're a danger. You're an angry mob, a danger to society. You're not doing it right.
It's truly amazing.
Yeah.
These guys were literally posting pictures of themselves drinking champagne. In another time, in the Middle Ages, if you did stuff like that and then things didn't go your way, that's not a good move.
No.
I'll just say that. Right? What do they let them eat cake?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would be very careful about that kind of thing.
Look, I'm so scared what's going to happen on Election Day coming up. Look, if things do not go well for the Democrats, Trump is going to think he's got license to be the dictator he's been trying to be for 2 years now. He's gonna take that as, you all want me to do whatever the hell I want to do, and I'm going to do whatever the hell. That's what's going to happen if the Republicans still have a majority on everything after Election Day.
Right. So you guys know what to do. You're already doing it, but keep doing it. Just like we've said, if you picked one thing, you're registering voters or whatever.
Hey, thanks to Taylor Swift for getting new people registered.
That's the positive power of celebrity.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
We've avoided Kanye, I've noticed.
It's not that I avoid anything. It's just I just don't care.
Yeah. Wow.
This show is a dictatorship. I mean, between you and I, it's it's our dictatorship. That's why I like. That's why I love doing it. I don't have to talk about Kanye. Now, if you want to talk about Kanye, I'll absolutely talk about it.
We don't need to.
But that's what I love doing this show. See, the mainstream media, I like saying that, or the lamestream media, they don't have that choice a lot of times. If you do an hour show every day on MSNBC, it's not that like Ari Melber or whatever wants to talk about Kanye, but you literally have to fill up an hour.
Well, yeah.
So what are you going to do?
Well, Ari Melber probably wants to talk about Kanye anyway because he's such
true.
a hip hop head. And I watched Ari Melber after Kanye's little trip in the White House, and yeah, that was the day. That was a good day to watch Ari Melber.
Right.
He knows his hip hop, and he has something to say about it. So yeah.
What I will say about that, just one thing, was that it was watching two mentally ill people.
Yes.
And I'm not making fun of them there. I'm serious. Joke about two mentally ill people sit there and yap at each other. One was doing most of the talking. Was truly disturbing. And then these reporters there it was like a Norman Rockwell painting.
It sure
like
was.
a tableau.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, no, they're there doing their jobs, documenting it. I mean, what else were they supposed to do? They're not supposed to stop it.
Yeah, I see your point there. That's true. But I feel like you do have a responsibility to kind of like, at a certain point, there has to be a limit to this nonsense. Kanye West is a mentally ill person. It's obvious from watching it. Yeah. He needs help. He needs professional help. We all know that Trump needs help.
You saw, I think it was it Lawrence O'Donnell who pointed it out? You saw when Kanye showed the iPlane on his iPhone, but did you see when he punched in his passcode?
Wasn't it like 000?
Yeah, it was all zeros.
Yeah.
But then later that same day, Media reported how Kanye went to the DC Apple store because his iPhone wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And then he jumped up on a table in the iPhone store and started doing a Kanye politics rant in the Apple store.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's mentally ill.
Right.
Yeah.
See, when you rant on a street corner and you're wearing a bunch of rags, people call you crazy. When you're Kanye West, they call you famous. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, look, musical artists should be crazy. They shouldn't necessarily get to espouse those views inside the White House.
Go make some music then. Don't jump on the iPhones, the table.
I know lots of people that know hip hop better than anybody else on the planet. And yeah, they all think Kanye is not, like he has great records and he has not made a great record in a long time.
Yeah.
He's just gone weird. You saw him on SNL dressed up as a Perrier bottle. And you know what? Justin Timberlake already did that on SNL in a comedy sketch, not one of his musical performances.
Yeah, I saw SNL's like opening, and I was like, "Why did you guys like? You can't write I'm a comedy writer. You can't write a comedy sketch about something that's already a comedy sketch."
Okay, you're talking about last night's cold open with Chris Redd as Kanye and Alec Baldwin as Trump,
right?
If you noticed, there wasn't a lot of writing in that. That was, again, SNL's done this a bunch of times with politics. Tina Fey did it geniusly with Sarah Palin, where they just use the same words verbatim.
Yeah.
And now I know Chris Redd added some stuff, but for the most part, that was everything you heard Chris Redd as Kanye say on SNL last night. Kanye said for real in the Oval Office.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just like when made the Kavanaugh thing with Matt Damon genius was that Damon turned it up that correct. When you're doing comedy, you got to turn up reality 10%. That's how you do it. And that was genius. But the Kanye sketch, it just didn't hit the mark.
Okay, well, say what you will about Bart O'Kavanaugh. He's not mentally ill. So when Matt Damon goes on there and amplifies up as a comedy actor should, that works. Now, you're playing a different ball game when you're trying to mock a mentally ill person.
Right.
So, yeah, Chris Redd, I think, did an awesome job. It was funny. But he didn't, if he turned up the volume 10%, you might not really notice because Kanye's that kooky.
No, he did the best he could. Like
I thought he did fantastic.
As everyone does in Hollywood, you blame the writer. That sketch, I think, should have taken a totally different, if I was doing it, it would have been just a different thing. But whatever. The show's written in 2 days, so you don't always have a lot of timing.
Yeah. Okay, enough about Kanye.
So I finally saw a photo of Richard Pinedo.
Oh, yeah.
Sentenced in the Mueller probe.
How much time did he get?
He actually got a pretty stiff sentence. Richard Pinedo is the identity thief who basically made a bunch of fake identities and gave these Russians credit cards so they could buy Facebook stuff, etc. Yeah, I mean, he got 6 months in jail. He got 6 months probation, and then he got 2 years. No, he got 6 months in jail, and then the other 6 months might be like house or I don't know.
Suspended sentence.
It's a total like.
Okay, so
it's 5 years.
How many of these fake identities he created are in Brad Parscale's shopped data?
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, are those two things connected?
But just looking at a photo of this guy, it looked like a Steven Seagal, like Santa Barbara surfer.
Wait, that's okay.
It was just weird.
That's an odd look. I didn't see this photo. Wow.
Yeah,
Steven Seagal is a surfer. I don't know if that I can't. But what? That's
weird.
A little mind-boggling. I'm not getting it.
Yeah, yeah. So Melania Trump went on a little tour of the world.
You know, sometimes I feel like I want to have a little sympathy for her, but then she just says something like, screw that.
And to all our listeners across the world, and especially in Africa and in Ghana, sorry.
Okay, once again, what do you mean my wardrobe is like a Nazi? How come every time Melania has some big public thing, she has like some crazy controversial, borderline racist, if not over the line racist outfit?
Right, so
every time now. Yeah.
She goes to Africa and she does the full-on like white colonial thing. I mean, even like in my head, like I knew when I heard she was going to Africa, I knew she was going to do the black baby thing, but she did it. Like, I was like, you're going to take a picture with a black baby, aren't you? Because you're that person. Of course. So she went to some fucking place and picked up the baby.
I'm not going to fault her for that. I understand where that's just the dumb cliche.
The full-on Zoolander.
Yeah. But dressed up as like the British colonial, but then dressed up as the Nazis from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Come on. And then she has the nerve. So what do you mean you're talking about my outfit? Don't talk about my outfit. Talk about my be best.
But what is it with the baby thing with all these like white people? They have to do that. It's like,
well, at least she didn't adopt one.
You're right. That would have been the thing where I just steal the baby.
She's going to wait till after Trump's out of office and she has the divorce, then she'll adopt one.
Right. Then she goes out to like the fucking pyramids, and you're right. She does the full on like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. That was not an accident that she dressed like a Nazi. It's just, there can't be. Right. It was not an accident when she wore the jacket that says, I don't give a fuck about any of you. I'm paraphrasing.
Right. Yeah.
Excuse my language.
Right. No, it's fine.
But now, did you see her ABC 2020 interview and what she said in that?
I saw it.
What the hell is it? The most self-serving, selfish crap ever. She's the most bullied person on the planet. What the hell is that about? Melania, come on. We're supposed to have sympathy for you being bullied. You're in the White House. I don't care if you're the first lady. That comes with the job. You're going to get attacked. You're going to get criticized more than anybody else in America. That's part of the gig.
I told you since day one, she's like the rest of them.
You know, every once in a while, like I mentioned some moment ago, I want to think she's the one that's going to come to her senses and go to Mueller and admit everything and just say, this is all wrong and I can't live with myself like this. But then, no, she's not going to do that. She's just as complicit as all of them.
She's one of them. I mean, the full-on, Jesus Christ, like you can't even take a tour of the world without making that about you too?
Yeah, I mean, her hashtag be best thing, let's set aside the improper grammar. In the long run, it's about her. It's not about kids getting bullied at school. It's about her getting bullied because she married Orange Mussolini. Yeah, and
to our friends in Ghana who listen to the show, because that is one of the most popular countries that listen to them all the time. If you did meet Melania Trump or you have any opinion on this, like I said, you can reach out on Twitter, Facebook, or the Gmail account. I'd be interested to hear.
We should just, to our listeners in Ghana, Mueller Time Podcast just wants to apologize for our First Lady on behalf of the rest of America.
Yeah.
Thank you to our listeners in Ghana.
And if that was your baby, sorry about that, man. Yeah. So Jack, my friend who calls me every day and leaves me voicemails about the Trump administration, left me a good one.
Let's hear it.
After Kevin.
Yo, what's happening, brother? It's Jack. Nothing important here. Just calling to tell you.
By the way, every voicemail always starts off with nothing important.
You that a weight is lifted. I'm so relieved that President Baby Shit apologized
This gets a little long, but I'll play enough.
Go. Okay.
to Brett Kavanaugh and his family on your and my behalf, because before I read that, it was just weighing heavily on me, the sorrow and the...
Dude is like so pissed. Like you can hear it in his voice the day after that. Like
I have
oh man, I was just really, really feeling bad about, not
let me just say real quick too, there's a big payoff at the end of this.
Okay,
That's well worth it.
wanting a rapist on the high court. And I mean, President, what's his face he was kind and diplomatic enough, heartfelt enough to apologize on behalf of all Americans to him and his family for the horrible ordeal that they went through.
I think he calls me sometimes from work. I'm not going to say where he works, but he works like pretty long shifts, and I think he goes out back, and I think he might. Well, whatever. Let me just finish this up.
And let's make America great again, brother. All right, one fuck up at a time.
All right.
I'm totally cutting that one part. Let's make America great again, one fuck up at a time.
You know what?
That's genius.
You should cut that sound bite. Add that to the music intro.
Thank you. That is genius.
Let's put that in the intro to Muller Time podcast.
And I called him back to tell him I was going to use this one, and he didn't pick up the phone.
I think everybody has the one friend that goes on way too long on your voicemail. But yeah, I think you're not wrong. He goes out back at work and enjoys the new laws that were enacted in our state earlier this year.
He's literally Peter Boyle from Network. Like he is the rant king. That's why I don't pick up the phone. No, totally love it.
Yeah.
We're on two new sites too. Radio Public, and then PRX, Public Radio Exchange, which is a little different. That's to kind of syndicate your stuff to.
Wait, are we getting on actual airwaves?
I'm working on it.
Wow. Oh, then we got to watch our language.
Well, if someone pays us enough money, we will.
All right.
That's capitalism.
Well,
right?
yeah, but public airwaves is socialism.
Yeah. Hey, look, if someone wants to pay us the appropriate salary, then I will consider some artistic changes. But until then, fuck and whatever else will be used.
You could pay us to get rid of F-bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, nobody paid Kanye to not drop an MF bomb in the Oval Office the other day.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I brought up Kanye twice now.
Yeah, this Radio Public thing is cool though. I think it's related to this Public Radio Exchange, but it's like a Spotify thing, but they have a good layout, and I like what they do. So if you're on that thing, you can check us out on Radio Public as well.
Right on.
So Trump is also trying to change the protest laws so people won't be. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you can't go outside the White House.
So the fascist in the White House wants to curb free speech, which will stop the people that are protesting the fascist in the White House.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how that works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they want to make it so he can't go outside the White House and protest. Yeah, I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
So there's some kind of public forum open apparently for comments. So I think it's on some government website. You guys know how to Google.
All right. So now this gets back to how I've been saying I'm very scared what's going to happen after the election. And if the Republicans still hold a majority on everything, things like public protests really will go away and will become a crime. Now, even though we've got a constitution protecting us from things like that being taken away from us, we've learned that the Constitution can be violated when the government wants to violate it, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it.
That's why I like doing this show. It's like this is a form of protest, but it's like it's not controllable by them.
Right now, it's not.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
Yeah.
Shit, I'll do this from anywhere. That's 2 microphones.
You got to trust the government doesn't shut off the internet.
You're going Pink Floyd on us now.
Well, yeah, I just might, because look, Al Gore invented it, so that's a good reason for Trump to shut it off anyway, so he can reinvent it and brand it the Trump internet.
Yeah, so they want to close off the White House to protest. Yeah, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. So if that bothers you as much as it bothers everyone, you can express yourself on, like I said, they have some open forum or call your representative, whatever.
I saw an overhead map of the White House area, and yes, there will be designated free speech zones, which is such such a misnomer. What's the word I'm looking for?
Sorry, I zoned out there for a second.
Okay, well, if a zone is a free speech zone, then, well, it's not really a free speech zone. Because if there's not free speech everywhere, then nothing is a free speech zone, even if there's one spot where you can go be in a free speech zone.
Yeah, that's
how free are you if you have to be in that zone?
That phrase I first heard during the Occupy Wall Street thing.
Oh, no, I was hearing free speech zones during the 2004 presidential campaign. That was the first time I saw that kind of thing going on. Free speech zones.
Yeah.
There were free speech zones outside the 2004 Republican conventions. Convention. Yeah.
That's what I love about the airwaves. The airwaves are, it's like pirate radio, man.
Okay, but you got to remember something. We are not on the airwaves. We're on the internet, which,
That's true.
You have to get on a service where you have to pay money, and you're paying a private company to listen to what we're doing. The airwaves are free, but technology has basically killed the airwaves because nobody listens to AM or FM radio anymore. So, yeah, the airwaves are free and no one's listening to them. And then all of the spots on the dial are all owned by multinational corporations anyway. So are the airwaves free?
I specifically make this show downloadable. A lot of podcasts don't because I want people, this show is listened to in some places where, you might get in trouble for that. So I want it to be able to get to people as easily as possible or pirate it or whatever. I don't care.
Well, look, we're not putting out music or something. We can make this show downloadable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can get it and, and shit in other countries. It's like
information wants to be free.
Yeah, it sure does. And then one more thing, a friend of mine is running a little campaign on Act Blue called, you can just look it up. It's called Resist 24/7. It's to raise money for specifically, I think it's like 7 candidates in really close districts where the money can actually matter. And she knows what she's doing. So just check that out. And if you're looking for a place to throw some money, Resist 24/7.
I just thought that just sparked my mind on something I saw on news this week that we should bring up. On MSNBC and on NBC News, they aired on both. Jacob Soboroff went to a number of towns in California to talk to voters. And he was going to towns that are in swing districts. Specifically, he went to Huntington Beach and to Irvine down in Orange County, which are historically Republican. But in the particular Irvine district, Hillary won the vote in that particular district. So these are districts in Orange County that could possibly swing to the left. And he went to the UC Irvine campus, and shockingly, everyone is like, nah, I'm not voting. Now he's talking all like these are college kids. So they're all, 18 to 22.
Wow.
And he didn't find anyone that was excited about voting.
Wow.
They're all really apathetic. He was sitting at a bus stop right outside UC Irvine. Hey, who here's voting? And everybody just kind of looks and doesn't say anything to him. And that was his report. He basically reported back to NBC, these people in these swing districts don't care, which is so sad.
I mean, did that report feel legit to you, or did?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to see what happens with that. That's surprising to me.
Yeah. No, I'll find the link, and you should watch Jacob Soboroff's thing from NBC News this week.
I wonder if it's that area too. Just that's a very rich kind of. Those kids have a lot of money. We know they do.
Well, yeah. Look, he's definitely talking to college students. That's on this particular report that I saw. Yeah, they're well-to-do kids who haven't had to care about politics yet. Yeah. When I was that age, I didn't really care about politics. Now, I always voted. I've never skipped out on any big election. I might not have been as well educated as I have been in more recent years, but I definitely knew, I'm going to vote for Bill Clinton in this election and not George Bush, even though I couldn't necessarily say why. So when he goes to talk to these 18, 19-year-old college kids in Irvine right now, it's kind of a bummer that they were all like, I don't care. I'm not voting. I don't care.
Let's just cross our fingers that this is that's just an outlier. Please.
Well, I hope you're right.
Let's just cross our fingers because we need every vote we can get.
Like I said, he was specifically in a district that had more Hillary voters than Trump voters, which has people on the right in their county seats, in their congressional seats.
Because these Republicans, and maybe we'll get into this next time, are doing everything they can to steal votes. They're taking it to a new level. You saw what that guy's doing in Georgia. Unbelievable.
Oh, Georgia's frightening because, they have a woman running for governor, and that's going to bring out, they have a black woman running for governor, and that's going to bring out a bunch of black female voters that probably don't vote very often. And what are people just magically getting purged from the Georgia voter rolls? Is that what's happening in Georgia?
Yeah, if you don't know, in Georgia, the guy who's running for governor is the guy who's in charge of the voter rolls. If you can fucking believe that.
Oh, come on, you're kidding me.
No, Brian Kemp. He's the Secretary of State. I swear to God. Yeah.
Oh, how convenient.
He's in charge of. They have a program called Exact Match.
Oh, I did hear about
did
this.
hear
So,
about
like,
that.
if you live on Elm Street and your license says STREET, but when you filled out your application, you wrote ST period, well, tough shit. You don't get to vote.
You don't get to vote. If one thing is wrong in Georgia, run by Brian Kemp, who's running in the election, you don't get to vote.
Yeah.
So, look, guys, if you want to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, it's Mueller Time or Mueller Time Pod on Twitter. My personal account is Eric LeVay, which is EricLevai, and Chris is at.
I'm at Low Progressive on Twitter, and I'd love to call out Ben Shapiro whenever he posts Russian propaganda.
Yeah, if you could drop us a line if you have any ideas or feedback, and especially, please, if you could write us a review and tell people about this. That's what we're trying to do, is get the word out about what's going on.
Hey, and don't forget, if you're at Politicon, track us down.
Yeah, track us down there. We'll be reporting. Yeah, next time you hear us, we'll be reporting live from Politicon. Otherwise, as always, it's been a pleasure, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for tuning in.